Hey there, Internet friends. Trevor Starkey here with a Thursday edition of Movie Monday. I just got home from seeing Thor Ragnarok, and it was a delight. Easily the best of the Thor movies, and probably minute for minute one of the funniest of the Marvel movies, period. I feel like I remember seeing an interview a few months back of director Taika Waititi saying that like only 20% of the film was scripted. Everything else was kind of improvised on set. And I remember being worried about that at the time, and especially like surprised that that Marvel would allow that kind of like free reign over it. And it surprisingly works. I think part of that is because they don't have a lot of really crucial story beats that they needed to set up going into Infinity War here. I think they could just kind of tell a really short story of Thor Ragnarok, and they could just kind of flesh that out with little side stories and humor and just fun. And especially as somebody else was talking about, I don't remember who, but somebody else was talking about how, you know, this probably needs to be a funny movie because as we get into Infinity War for the next kind of movies and Black Panther and stuff, we're probably going to be, you know, delving into darker territory. So the fact that this is so fun and so bright and so lighthearted is a really nice moment. That said, there are some like dark things that happen in here. There are kind of long-established characters in the Thor franchise that are, you know, dispatched with pretty quickly. They're given a little bit of short shrift, I thought, in favor of newer characters. Some characters are just completely absent, and I was left kind of wondering where they are, you know, in the grand scheme of everything. But overall, it's just fun, and then a few moments where it kind of like pulls you back into, you know, the serious stakes of the bigger world at large, but then it just comes back to fun. Chris Hemsworth shines as he really always has in the role, but here he did get to really tap into that more comedic side that we get to see him do in a lot of other projects that he's done outside of the Marvel Universe. Even, you know, the much maligned Ghostbusters movie, he had so many great, funny little bits in it as you know, the oaf Kevin. Here he really gets to kind of play with that comedic side of himself, and it's a lot of fun. Pairing him up with Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk and Bruce Banner is also just a wonderful pairing that has been really, you know, built on the foundation of those little scenes that they had in the original Avengers movie. It's like that relationship has grown and blossomed into something that really gets to shine, is really special here, and they have a lot of fun with. You have Tessa Thompson here as like a former Asgardian warrior Valkyrie, who she shines in kind of trying to run from her past and yet also accept that she needs to face it. But in the way she handles it and kind of her role on the side story of this film, which is Sakaar. It's kind of the, you know, a scavenger type of world where you've got Jeff Goldblum's Grand Master kind of leading the show and leading a Colosseum type of thing, kind of playing Roman Emperor kind of setup. He has a ton of fun. He's great in his role. He just kind of gets to beat Jeff Goldblum turned up to 11. The director, Taika Waititi, does play a smaller role himself, Korg, who is just kind of given nonstop jokes in what he gets to kind of play as, and he's just a delight. He has a lot of great humorous moments. Valkyrie has a lot of great moments. Thor, Loki, Tom Hiddleston is back as Loki. All of them, like, everybody has great, funny moments in this film. On the Asgard side of things, everything's kind of built around Thor gets, you know, sent away to this kind of planet where he has to kind of make his way back to Asgard because Cate Blanchett's Hela has come to take power, to take control over Asgard, and she's great in kind of her presence and what she brings to the role, and it looks like she's having a lot of fun with it, but it suffers from, you know, the same kinds of things so many of these Marvel movies do with regards to their villains. Marvel makes movies about their heroes, not about their villains. And so when I go back to thinking about the 20% of the movie that was scripted, I think a lot of that was probably centered around Hela. I don't think she had much in the way of, like, ad-libby stuff. I think she is kind of telling the story that Marvel needed told for whatever purposes here. And that's not to say she's bad at all, but the film definitely has, I think, a lot more fun doing those little side gags and side stories and telling the story on Sakaar, where we see, as we've seen in the trailers, you see kind of Thor and Hulk fighting in a Coliseum. Like, there's a lot built around that, and kind of the lead up to that and the fallout of that on this side planet. The amount of love and joy that goes into that element of the story almost feels like, you know, we're having to put that on hold to go and revisit what's going on in Asgard as kind of intercutting all of that stuff. All in all, it's a ton of fun as a film. I'm looking forward to going back and seeing it. I get to go see it with a bunch of my friends. We're going to go, I think, try and catch it when I'm in Maryland next week for Extra Life, so I look forward to seeing it with, like, friends. Seeing it at a crowded theater was a delight because everybody was laughing the whole time. It was just a wonderful, joyous experience, and you know, that kind of communal experience of getting out to the theater and having a good comedy. There are some great action sequences, too. The action, I think, is more kind of by the numbers, what you expect, you know, the action of a Thor movie to be. And the comedy is the real surprise of this film, and really just how much they lean into that comedy. There are a ton of fun surprises and cameos that kind of come out of nowhere, and so I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of any of the Marvel movies, even if you haven't really enjoyed the Thor movies, I think this does for Thor what, for me, Captain America the Winter Soldier did for Captain America. You took kind of some of the weaker characters in these respective franchises of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and really breathed a new life into them that really kind of, you know, took what you expected of them and really sent them off in their own direction. And I think kind of infusing Thor and letting him be kind of this cut loose and free and fun really serves the character well and serves kind of the universe well. It's not, you know, it's not trying to tell a deep, dark, brooding story. That's where we're going to go to next. This is, I always talk about the disarming power of comedy, in, you know, you have those moments where you have, like, levity, and then a gut punch that really, like, takes you out of a moment. And I've talked about in the past, Joss Whedon is really great at this, you know, he in the way he kind of sets up, you know, high moments only to pull the rug out from under you. I feel like that's probably what Thor Ragnarok is. This is, like, Marvel at its funniest and goofiest, and then with Infinity War, we're going to start having that all ripped away from us as Thanos starts to really take his reign. So those are my thoughts on Thor Ragnarok. Let me know what you thought about the film in the comments below. As always, I've been your host, Trevor Starkey from TrevorTrove.com. You can follow me at SnarkyStarkey on Twitter. And until next time, from here at the Trove, treasure your friends.